people from USA, what is the general feel over there right now? You know that scene in Pirates of the Caribbean where the guy is walking through the ship as it explodes all around? You know the saying cooler heads prevail? Yeah, we've ran out of those guys. It's depressing along with embarrassment, dread, and no optimism. There's a little bit of news is overwhelming and sometimes I just have to unplug. It's easy to get consumed in it, but there's nothing we can really do besides vote. You kinda just have to go about your day while trying to ignore this dark cloud. The saddest part is how it's dividing families. We keep our opinions to ourselves, lot didn't used to as much, but they come out more in election years, and it's disturbing when you strongly disagree with how people you love view the world. Utter disbelief that real journalism was thrown away with such disregard. It feels like a bad dream, where even with my well-vetted sources I cannot convince my family members to care about anything I say, even when I prove it is without a doubt the absolute truth. I can't believe it's to a point where truth doesn't matter. Oh, easy. The sane people feel defeated and helpless. The less sane are throwing stones at each other, as usual. The insane believe that the people throwing stones each side are actually deep state's double agents trying to make their opposition look bad. Unless they're actually triple agents. I recently talked to my American friends I met back in 2010 when I was over there for half a year. It's like day and night. Back then everyone was happy-go-lucky, maybe sprinkled with a bit of "ah well, politics suck. Anyway." And now it's like everyone is in doomsday mode. There is no joy anymore. Maybe a little gallows humor here and there, but that's about us, like everyone gave up and is just waiting for the Big Bang, without doing anything against it. Given, it's just 6 or 7 people. But it shows a picture. Many of the bridges in America are structurally unsound. This was published information and nothing is really seemingly being done. America itself feels a lot like those bridges. Unsound and deep dread, punctuated by moments of indifference. It's like feeling yourself tripping and falling. It's happening, nothing you can do to stop it, all you can do is watch it happen. Also fear at knowing it's gonna hurt. It's absolutely terrible. I have had to cut back significantly on the amount of news I take in. Everything I read makes me feel dread and anxiety. I've been focusing on my job, family, friends, and hobbies. I took up watercoloring and that seems to be helping. There's not too much I can do besides vote, and that's not until November. I'm worried and depressed. I think that sums up how a lot of people I know feel as well. I'm also just disappointed in us. I'm old and it used to be a source of pride to be American. I'm kind of embarrassed now. It's like that feeling you get when you're climbing a roller coaster, but in the worst possible way. Not sure how anyone else is holding up. I am thinking of asking my doctor to up my Zoloft dosage. I take it for PTSD, but it works regardless of the source. Of kinda want to do drugs again, but November will be 10 years drug-free. Can't backslide now. It's miserable. It feels like the bad guys are winning and nothing any of us can do or have done can stop it. It depends where you are in the States and what political leaning the person you ask. You got to be specific. Us is large with an insane amount of different views. I have family I used to love spending time with, that I now avoid at all costs. We've been torn apart by paranoia, misinformation, hatred, extremism, etc., etc., etc. The country is falling apart is pretty much the general sentiment, the one thing almost everyone can agree on. Even the most privileged people can see it now. I feel that the US is dying from at least 3 kinds of cancer: lies, acceptance of bad morals, and greed. Hypocrisy is preventing the country from getting treatment. I'm scared for the future. Genuinely. Between the recent SCOTUS decisions and Trump choosing J.D. Vance as his running partner, I have been spiraling badly. I've lived in Los Angeles since 2000, in not so good part of town, trying to finish my education. Everything is up: rent, groceries, crime, and homelessness, except pay that ain't up. Voting feels like it doesn't do anything. I feel like that most people who do vote like the way it is, so they vote to slow changes, while those who don't vote are those who can benefit from all these taxes they take from us. The bureaucracy moves nice and slow, 'cause if the man in charge solved all the problems today, they would replace him the next day. So the meta is to milk public positions with inactivity, and take kickbacks from wealthy businesses for legislation tips. I'm tired, I'm broke, and there is no help coming. If I ever get the chance to leave, I will take it. Can't afford to right now. I hope your situation is better. And damn tired of the doomers, all designed to make sure you think it's all pointless and hopeless, and there's no point in voting because it's propaganda meant to make you feel exactly that. Every single person posting that doom and gloom, poor me nonsense is part of the problem. If the people who sat on their ass in 2022 vote in November, it all becomes moot. Tell anybody who claims differently to fuck off. Feel great. My wife and I had our first baby 3 weeks ago, celebrated our first 4th of July together, And can't wait for our baby girl's American passport to arrive in the some trips coming up. Very excited to move to a different state in a couple of years and hopefully buy our first generation immigrants from Europe and Latin America, and the US gave us everything we hoped for and more. I feel like the economy is strong, my job is stable, our investments keep growing, it's all good. Tired and frustrated with the level of stupid, hateful people in this country. However, I'm also hopeful that the majority of the sane ones are tired of the divisive hate. I'm also hopeful that their fatigue from it all will inspire them to vote against Trump, who is the main individual creating all of this. If I'm right, the democracy gets live on. If I'm wrong, we most likely devolve into a dictatorship. It's a shame that humanity can't learn from its mistakes, it just keeps making the same ones. Hot as shit, every political option available is shit, and the financial situation is shit. Hope this helps. Capitalism is the issue. Most people only care about themselves and their family. Most people will do anything to get ahead. Companies don't care about their workers like they once did. Groceries, rent, and gas are ridiculously expensive, making the average job impossible to afford anything. Prevents a lot of people from having families because the average job can afford kids. Government is overbloated, too many jobs that don't actually produce or solve problems. Taxes are ridiculously high as well. Intellectual melancholy. I feel a slow ratcheting effect towards religious authoritarianism, similar to what Russia has. Our system wasn't designed to meet this moment, and it's too late to change. I'm deeply ashamed by how far we have sunk. That feeling of dread that you get leading up to something bad that you know is going to happen no matter what you do. I've never felt the phrase vote like your life depends on it, but now I do. It's alright. Real life is different than online. Everyone politically hyper-engaged is the ones tending towards violence. Most of us just want to live our lives. Prices on stuff could go down. Who knows what's next? All that different. We have so many of the same problems my great-grandmother saw in 1930, so it's business as usual for again. I expect to be one of the few non-white respondents here. It is a depressed bunch that think the world is gonna end any minute. In reality, the vast majority of my neighbors and coworkers are very happy people with good lives that don't give a hoot about Trump or Biden. You can look at any window in time and there's people thinking the country is falling apart, prices are too high, too much violence and so on. For real though, we're just fine. AskReddit isn't the best place to get an unbiased answer. It's always doom and gloom here. Feel too bad, America. We Europeans have a literal full-scale war on our borders and a big, nuclear neighbor who hates us. So, we're kind of in a shit spot here too. You're not alone. Online and politically engaged people on the left are despondent. We've been attacking and infighting with each other for months on end now, and realize we're still 4 months off from losing the election and getting to start up with a fresh round of recrimination and self-immolation. I think we're about to enter our Tea Party phase, which has only been delayed because it's oddly easier for the center to hold in multi-coalitional parties, which the Dems are much more than the GOP is. Most Americans, however, are not very online and not very politically engaged. For them, prices are just too high. They're closer to comparable countries now, TBH, and that's about it.